and they 3D printed that. And it was fun. But I told them how I presenting my chisels that I'm working with. And I've got this design. So when his teachers put together, so now they're 3D printing these racks. This all gouges at a time, and they're going to print them. Maybe I can put them on a stand or on these, I don't know.
When do you want us to do our please?
Are you guys going to start?
We could, whatever you think. It's a big moment, so we could either,
So before we start, do the shtick also introducing yourselves and let everybody. If you think that would work best, we would.
So and then you'll do your proper kickoff after.
Or I'll do the kickoff before.
Okay. And then as a pendant, how it feels, how you go. Okay, good. Then because that's I'm going to put this on. Check. 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 Check.
Check. 1, 2, check.
Oh yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, good evening and welcome. Linda Goodman, our Director of Sacred Music, and I welcome you to tonight's worship. We're delighted that our religious school students and our choir participate actively in our service this evening. And last week's bar mitzvah, Cody Vogelai, brings his talented accompaniment both this week and next week. We gather for Shabbat prayer. However observed, what makes Shabbat, what makes the Sabbath powerful and meaningful, is not simply taking off time, but celebrating time and sharing moments within the warm embrace of a community, likewise devoted to Shabbat's message of renewal through rest and study and shared presence. As such, before we begin, I ask you to turn to your neighbor and to greet them by saying Shabbat Shalom. Or if it's your spouse, you could look at your neighbor before, introduce yourself, say hello. You guys know each other? Yes, very good. Now, lift every voice and sing, known as the Black National Anthem. Beautiful, powerful words. Our choir is going to begin this evening with Lift Every Voice and Sing, so appropriate on this Shabbat service as we commemorate the legacy and the vision of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. now turn to page 120 for candle lighting as we as a community welcome Shabbat together. Page 120, candle lighting will be led by Maura Abby Peklo, the director of our religious school.
So may we, by our lives, do light to all who hold us. As the brightness reminds us of the light, so may we, in our own way, be among those who do light. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who follows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Let's join
Together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Lehadikder shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Maura Abbey. Our service continues pages 138, page 138, and then on page 139 with Lecha Dodi as we continue to welcome Shabbat. We'll be singing the first, the second, and then the 9th verses of Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi lekrat likrat kala Perei perei Shabbat likrat kala Lecha Dodi lekrat likrat kala Perei perei Shabbat likrat kala la la Lecha Dodi lekrat likrat kala Perei perei Shabbat likrat kala Lecha Dodi lekrat likrat kala Perei perei Shamor bezahar b'dibur echad Hishianu el ha'echad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem tiferer v'liti la 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 Lecha dodi lekrat kala Pnei pnei Shabbat mikol elav Lecha dodi lekrat kala Pnei pnei Shabbat mikol elav
Likrat Shabbat lefu menecha Hivim lechor ha'achacha Merosh mekeret lesucha Sofa maseh leman Shabbat tefila la la
Lecha dodi lekrat kala Pnei pnei Shabbat mikol elav Lecha dodi lekrat kala Pnei pnei Shabbat mikol elav Bahi v'shalom ha'teret bala Gam b'simcha u'tzahola Tokamunei am sikula Bahi
We now turn to page 144 for the Chatzi Kaddish. Amanda leads us in the Chatzi Kaddish, page 144.
V'ikra shmei lava. Amen. V'amadiva hyote v'amlik machute. V'ayechonu yomechon u'chayet kol beit Yisrael. Ba'ala u'mizman kavid. V'meru
Thank you. Please rise. We turn to page 146. We invite those who are able to rise. Aurora will be leading us in the Baruch Hu, page 146, and the Shema, page 152.
I remember. Okay, let's see. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach Be'olam Va'ed.
Page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Is that it?
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Shem Kavod Ve'olam Halatu Ve'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. We turn to page 154. Elliot leads us in the Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol kalecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher Elohim mitzaveh
ושרתם לאותה יודעה, והיו לטוטאות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך וישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Amen. Thank you. We turn to page 158. Page 158. Mi Chamocha is our prayer for freedom. Page 158 as we join together with Linda and Cody.
Okay, why don't you all stand up so you're all ready to, you know this. All right, everybody knows this, so you can all help with the clapping. Ready?
On the bottom of page 160, blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Page 162 for our prayer for Shabbat Vishamru. And Eli is our leader.
Karen, can you see me okay? Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותיהם ברית העולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותיהם Yisrael et HaShabbat. Lasso et HaShabbat L'Doratam Beritolam Ki Sheshet Yahi Lasso Adonai et HaShabbat Be'arat. 2, 3, 4. Vishamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, Lasso et HaShabbat, L'Doratam, Beritolam, Ubayom, Hashvihi, Shabbat, Vayinachash, Shabbat, Vayinachash, Vishamru Yisrael et HaShabbat, Lasso et HaShabbat, L'Doratam, one more time. Vishamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, Lasso et HaShabbat, L'Doratam, Beritolam.
Thank you. Our service now continues, page 164. We invite those who are able to rise as Elliot begins with the Avot, the Imahot prayers. Page 164.
Face the ark.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufia Yitahilazeka. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotzeinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Ha'gadol Ha'gibor Ha'ra, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdevot Ve'imachot, U'nevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, V'ma'am Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Ezrat Sarah, Tagi Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atara L'Hoshia, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechaye HaKol B'Rahamim Rabim, Somek Nofim B'Rofei Kohonim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mechayim Emunato, L'Shelei Afar, Mi'amot Amal Yurot,
You are holy. Your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God.
Baruch atah Adonai, Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Shalom means peace. Shalom means peace of mind. However much the world lacks it, at times we lack it. Shalom must remain our goal. May this Shabbat be a peaceful time, and may we be Shalom's agents and advocates. Our prayer, Shalom Rav, page 178. Silent Prayer, page 180.
Oh, say Shalom bin Rama, Huya say Shalom Aleinu. Oh, say Shalom bin Rama, Huya say Shalom Aleinu. Oh, say Shalom bin Rama, Huya say Shalom Aleinu. Say Shalom, say Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'echo Yisrael. Say Shalom, say Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'echo Yisrael. Say Shalom in Rama.
Thank you. Everybody sounds so nice singing. For those who are able, we invite you to rise, page 364. As the Torah will be taken out, we sing Ki Mitzion. Please be seated. Our Torah portion begins the book of Exodus. Tonight we read how while tending his father-in-law's flock, Moses receives the call to leadership at the burning bush. The burning bush is a small shrub that doesn't burn up, from which God details a plan of liberation for the Jewish people. In the scene, Moses and later every reader and listener encounters mystery and questions. Why doesn't the bush burn up? How long did Moses have to stare into it before realizing what was happening? And throughout the narrative, Moses both accepts and questions God. The burning bush symbolizes an inexhaustible reservoir of hope and sanctity beyond what we think possible. Our sages wondered, why does God address Moses from a small bush? Why not from the grand heavens? The answer is itself a statement of Judaism's message, that God shows solidarity. God is on the side of the humble and the oppressed, with those in need of help and freedom. As for our reader, she's all set. Earlier this week, Sandy Gold had a birthday. Tonight, in keeping with what's become a yearly tradition, she marks her milestone in part by reading from the Torah. This is in keeping with the very guidance of our ancient rabbi, Ben Bagbag, who taught, turn the Torah over and over again and again, for all is in it. Do not move from it, for you have no better portion than it. And linking ourselves to Torah, we find a sacred connection that can help to deepen and sustain us throughout our lives. Now, you can follow along in the Torah commentaries. This is pages 398 and 399, not of the prayer books, but of the Torah commentaries. And our aliyah to the Torah this evening is our recent bat mitzvah, Amanda Blatter. So Amanda, let's bring you forward. Dr. Dan serves as our gabbai this evening.
Shall we find it first?
Oh, yes. I can. Umashahaya. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vahed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Toratav. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. And if you can hold right here.
Amen. Umoshe haya roeh etzon yitro hotno kohen midyan vayinhag et hatzon achar hamidbar vayavo el har ha'elohim oreva Vayera Malach Adonai Elav V'labatesh mitoch hasaneh Vayar V'hinei hasaneh Boer ba'esh V'hasaneh Einenu kal Vayomer Moshe Asuranav Ere Et Hamare Hagadol Hazeh Madua Lo Ivar Hasaneh Vayar Adonai Kisar Lirot Vayikra Elav Elohim mitoch hasaneh Vayomer Moshe Vayomer hineni Vayomer al tikrav halom Shal na'alecha me'al raglecha ki hamakom asher ata omer alav admat kodesh hu Vayomer Anochi Elohei Avicha Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Vayaster Moshe Panav Ki Yareh Mechabit El HaElohim Vayomer Adonai Ra'o Ra'iti Et Oni Ami Asher B'Mitzrayim Ve'et Za'akatam Shamati Mipnei Nogasav Ki Yadati Et Mahovav Vayered lahatzilo miyad Mitzrayim ul ha'alato min ha'aretz hahi el eretz tova urchava el eretz zavat chalav udvash El Mikol HaKanaani, Bahachiti, Baha-Emori, Baha-Prizi, Baha-Chivi, Baha-Ivusi, Ve'ata Hine Tza'akat B'nei Yisrael Ba'a Elai V'gam ra'iti et halachatz asher Mitzrayim lochatzim otam. Ve'ata lecha ve'esh lachacha el paro v'hotzei et ami b'nei Yisrael mi Mitzrayim. Vayomer Moshe El HaElohim Mi Anochi Ki Elech El Paro V'chi Otzi Et B'nei Yisrael Mi Mitzrayim Vayomer Ki Yeh Imach V'zelecha ha'od ki anochi shalachticha
בהוציאך
בהוציאך את העם ממצרים, תעבדון את האלוהים הזה.
Terrific. Hazeh.
Cloth right there. A blessing after.
That was great.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hashem natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayeh olam nata b'torheinu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Thank you, and wow, just beautiful. Thank you so much, Sandy. Just an inspired reading. Trust me, no better way to celebrate a birthday week. And now, anybody here this evening just returned from the land of Israel, perhaps is a little jet lagged? Would that be Laura? So let's invite you forward to help as the Torah is dressed. Bezot HaTorah will be found at the bottom of page 370. And Laura, if we could have you come vote, and again, hopefully not too jet lagged tonight. Bezot HaTorah, we invite those who are able to rise. And then right there is the mantle. And it goes right over the top. And then first the breastplate, and then the yoke on the right hand side, and then the crowns. Page 374. Thank you. Please be seated. As we offer the blessing for healing the Shabbat, we are mindful of Sylvia Albert, Yvette Mickenberg, the Reverend Ken Frazier, Pat Marignani, Laura Pickman, Hamora Tzvi Amina, Bat Ita Vitzvi Hirsch, Elise Weingarten, Max Berkowitz, Judy Sherman, Alex Greenberg, Eleanor Weckler, June Molina. There are also those for whom we pray privately, including people over the world fighting COVID-19. For those in our sanctuary, please share aloud the names of people for whom we likewise publicly pray this Shabbat.
Stuart Sachs.
Kendra Moss, Hadasco.
And for those on Zoom, we ask you to unmute and say out loud the names of those for whom we also pray this Shabbat.
James Charles.
Michelle Klein, Norma Hecker, and Gil Abramson.
For all, may the Holy One send healing and shelter in protection. Our prayer, Mishaberach. Page 371. Moradena?
So in grades 6 and 7, students learn about the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s and the meaningful and brave roles that many Jews played during the critical times in America. Students learn how Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel linked arms with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and other civil rights heroes as they crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge. They learn about Black children fighting for equal rights in Alabama during the Children's March. They also learn some uncomfortable truths, such as how 3 young men, Andrew Goodman, Mickey Schwimmer, both Jewish, and James Earl Chaney, a devout Black Catholic, died fighting for equal rights and civil rights. The curriculum digs deeper into the responsibilities that Jews embrace to help repair the world, Tikkun Olam, and fight for social justice. A short word on the civil rights movement and Jewish involvement, and then students will share some inspirational quotes in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. means so much to so many around the world. He is the kind of person one can imagine people around the world knowing 10,000 years from now. May it be that Rabbi Heschel and Rabbi Prince both lived so long right beside Dr. King in history's future. May Dr. King's legacy elevate the story of the Jewish people, and Rabbi Heschel and Rabbi Prince's legacy elevate the story of Black people. On the March to Washington in 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech. Rabbi Prince also gave a speech at Dr. King's side that day. Here is an excerpt from Rabbi Prince's oration. When I was the rabbi of the Jewish community in Berlin under the Hitler regime, I learned many things. The most important thing that I learned under those tragic circumstances was that bigotry and hatred are not the most urgent problem. The most urgent, the most disgraceful, the most shameful, and the most tragic problem is silence. 2 years later, in 1965, from Selma to Montgomery, Rabbi Heschel famously said, "My legs were praying," beside Dr. King as they walked arm in arm across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. In 2020, when George Floyd's murder sent shockwaves around the world, Rabbi Heschel's daughter, Susanna Heschel, spoke during an interview with David M. Sherman. She shared, "My father would be horrified not only by the murder of George Floyd, but also by the murder of so many Black people. It would bring him back to his own life in Nazi Germany and what happened to his family. When I was growing up," she continued, "he would always tell me that poverty meant there was a system in place to keep you without money, and he would talk about it in personal terms because we lived at the edge of Harlem, and that powered his struggle against racism. From pogroms in Eastern Europe to race riots in America, our human experience, bound by suffering and surviving by hope, is intrinsically connected. From Emmett Till in 1955 to Trayvon Martin in 2012, from the Civil Rights Movement to the Poor People's Campaign and Black Lives Matter, the flame of the torch has shone brightly and dimmed and shone brightly again, but it continues to shine its light on our souls and give warmth to our hearts. In colonial times, white indentured servants and Black slaves rebelled together. The direction we are going in is of coming together. It's who we are as Jews, as Americans, and as humanity. Our first reader of our Dr. King quotes read by our students is Eliane Garena.
In 1965, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel said, "Legs are not lips, and walking is not kneeling." And yet our legs uttered songs even without words. Our march was worship. I felt like my legs were praying.
The following 6 quotes are from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from Birmingham jail. One has not only a legal but moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws.
Injustice everywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly.
A just law is a man-made code that squares with the moral law or the law of God. An unjust law is a code that is out of harmony with the moral law.
An unjust law is a code that a numerical or power majority group compels a minority group to obey but does not make binding in itself. This is difference made legal. By the same token, a just law is a code that a majority group compels a minority group to follow and that is willing to follow itself. This is sameness made legal.
It is wrong to use immoral means to attain moral ends. Oppressed people cannot remain oppressed forever. The yearning for freedom eventually manifests itself.
We thank our readers, Maura Dana, Maura Abbey. This year, you heard excerpts from letters from Birmingham jail. Several of my colleagues in nearby houses of worship and I agreed that this weekend we would all do that. We would all present that specific letter, as our students have read from excerpts this evening. The full letter will be read on Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. By Muse, the Mattituck Unitarian Universalist Society at the United Church of Christ. That's the big white church just down the road. Background. Dr. King had been jailed in April of 1963 for leading peaceful demonstrations. He was jailed as mass public demonstrations were against the law in Alabama. A group of white local religious leaders had criticized him for creating civil unrest, calling it unwise and untimely. In response, Dr. King wrote his letter, composing it on pieces of newspaper, then bits of paper, and finally paper pads supplied by his attorneys. King confessed, "Never before had I written so long a letter. I can assure you that it would have been much shorter if I'd been writing from a comfortable desk. But what else can one do when one is alone in a narrow jail cell other than write long letters, think long thoughts, and pray long prayers?" As our students shared, Dr. King justified the tactic of civil disobedience by stating that he refused to submit to laws that were employed to uphold segregation and deny citizens their rights to peacefully assemble and protest. Finding inspiration in the Bible's teachings about integrity and justice, Dr. King further explained the time is always ripe to do right. He insisted that suffering be met head-on with sacrifice and struggle. His influence on our land and consciousness is so important that each year on this Shabbat closest to Dr. King's birthday, it's our long-standing practice to remember his vision and legacy. In so doing, we also recall that long before it became popular or successful, as Moradena has indicated, Jews, and especially Reform Jews, were strong allies and civil rights advocates. As another example, the vast majority of freedom riders attempting to break segregation by registering black voters in Mississippi were Jewish. Immediately prior, as we heard, to the Dr. King's speech, the speaker was Joachim Prinz, the Reform rabbi who spoke about being a refugee from Nazi Germany and the shame of the German silence in the face of hate. One of our own members, Eivel Kovner, some of you know her from Torah study, attended that very event. On Sunday, I will be the speaker at Grace Baptist Church in Waterbury, a leading African-American institution in our area. Unlike tonight, I'm slotted to talk on Sunday for about a half an hour. You can relax. I won't tonight. Though feel free to tune in on Sunday through Grace Baptist's social media on either Facebook or YouTube. I'm grateful for this opportunity and honor, for our two communities need each other for both battles, that of fighting racism and fighting anti-Semitism, the hatred of Jews. Though to be clear, as I'll explain, sometimes it's the very same battle. And not just because racists tend to be anti-Semites and anti-Semites tend to be racists. The Jewish people itself is a more diverse cohort than our common portrayal in the media. We come in all sizes, shapes, genders, and colors. Our people include sizable communities of Ethiopian and Ugandan origin, and our own synagogue is in no way unique as the spiritual home of Jews who are also African American. Hence, while we are not completely separate entities, we must always be partners in promoting inclusion and opportunity, which is why this Shabbat is so special. The synagogue's purpose is to teach and transmit important values from generation to generation. May we raise our voices and dedicate our energies to promoting respect, diversity, and human dignity for all. May we always champion that the time is always ripe to do what is right. Ken Yehi Ratzon, be this God's will. Our service now continues, page 586. For those who are able, we invite you to rise for the Aleinu. Amanda will be leading us, and the Aleinu that we'll be chanting is the second paragraph down on the page. Ladon hakol, latet gedula yofre breshit, shelo asanu kagei haratzot, ve'lahu samarim, kamishpachot ha'adama, shelo samchaltenu kahem, ve'doho aleinu kechol ha'onam. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei Melech HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Please be seated. Yep.
Sometimes I lay under the moon. I thank God I'm breathing. And I pray, don't take me soon. I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown. But I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds,
At this moment in our service, we turn to 598, page 598. We now call to mind our own beloved dead. We pray on their behalf. We voice the confidence that they are remembered for blessing. I ask those in mourning, remembering the anniversary of the death of a loved one, to please rise if you are able when their name is mentioned. This Shabbat, remember the art sites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Albert Augenbraun, Yetta Lowe Blank, John Jack Current, Louis Decker, Ida Epstein, Ida Friedman, Madeline Greiner Kaiser, Morris Klein, Jacob Corkin, Harold Lawson, Patricia Liebeskin, Morris Novak, Pauline K. Novak, Ben Oceans, Leo Shine, Charlotte Scher, Marcus Schwartz, Elsa Siegel, Jules Silfen, Irving Steiglitz, and Molly Rudolph Zeidler. We ask our worshipers in our sanctuary, should you have a dear one to add, to please rise now and say their name. We ask our worshipers on Zoom to unmute and to say the name of their loved one. For those in our sanctuary, should you wish, we invite you to offer a short remembrance of a dear one on our Kaddish list. Please raise your hand for the microphone.
It's exactly 9 years today that my mother passed away, and it's most fitting that her yahrzeit is this evening, this Shabbat, when we remember Dr. King. She was a strong advocate of civil rights and social justice, and was never afraid to stand up what she believed in, regardless of the consequences, and I thank her for teaching me that. And I'm also grateful for living in a home that did not know prejudice, and everyone was welcome.
I want to say I'm truly honored to be here today and just see the youth that is coming to us. This was a marvelous experience for me, and I just want to say thank you. My father passed away on January 13th in 2001. He was a television repairman, and I never thought about what he did. He fixed televisions 6 days a week, days and nights. And in some way, I think he brought communications to people so they had a better understanding of what's happening. And he was in Brooklyn, New York, which was one of the largest populations of televisions in the 50s. So I normally say funny things about him, but tonight I'm going to say maybe in some way he helped get that communications out there on those televisions. So thank you. I am just absolutely touched by what you've done today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alan. And Sharon, as you and I know, your mother also did a strong part here to make sure that our congregation was in a welcoming and inclusive place. We remember the dead associated with the pandemic, the Ukrainian victims of Russia's invasion. Each Shabbat, we also mention 6 names amongst the 6 million murdered in the Holocaust, the Shoah. This week, we name first name Anon Kapelevitz, Vladimir Rochbin, Leova Gorolik, Bronslavia Gorolik, Mulya Kaplan, and Jenny Reisner. In remembrance and solidarity, and on behalf of those for whom there is no one but us to say Kaddish, we now invite all to rise if you are able. Our Kaddish prayer, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach churute v'amlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mavarach le'olam alalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kadashah v'rechu. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Damiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Zichronam l'vracha. May their memories be for blessing. Let us say Amen. Please be seated. Of course, Stephen Reps is president of our synagogue.
Thank you all for being here this evening, either in person or online. Thank you, Rabbi and Linda, just a wonderful, wonderful service this evening. Maura Dana and the BIRS students. Thank you to Cody and Sandy Gold and Dr. Dan, and to Michaela, our choir. Any good news to share this evening? Any Tristodecaphobians out there? Good news, this crowd, there's got to be something. Yeah, Abby.
So I have some exciting news on behalf of our community. So most of you know, I work full-time at Advance in Michigan, and I wrote a federal grant, and the Northwestern school districts, Northwestern Connecticut school districts, we were granted $8.7 million for school-based mental health over the next 5 years.
0.7 million, that's awesome. Wonderful. Anybody else? How about anniversaries, birthdays? Mazel tov, Sunday. Henry just turned 9. Happy birthday, Henry.
We have an anniversary, 35 years.
35 years.
Wonderful.
Wonderful, Jan, thank you.
My second week of celebrating her birthday.
Paul says it's the second week of celebrating Sandy's birthday. Tomorrow morning, Torah study at 10:30, in person and online. Sunday, as Rabbi said, he speaks at Grace Baptist Church in Waterbury. Service begins at 10 a.m. You can tune in on their social media page. Monday, Rabbi will attend the annual MLK Junior commemoration, also at Grace Baptist Church in Waterbury, 11 a.m. Tuesday, Rabbi's discussion group and B'nai Israel Religious School. Next Shabbat, Cody and Bonnie are our service leaders. Rabbi and Lisa Siegel offer a special goodbye to Beth and Mike Rosen. Mark your calendars for making the impossible possible on Sunday, January 22nd, 9 to 11:30. Guest lecturer Samantha Levi, a new Israeli and convert to Judaism from Colombia, will lecture about the important work going on in a remote part of Israel, the Arava. This will focus on the Arava International Center for Agricultural Training. She will discuss a unique hands-on agricultural study program aimed to provide agricultural knowledge and skills on food safety and security for students from developing countries. A light breakfast will be served at 9 a.m., followed by a Zoom lecture at 10. To attend the breakfast, please RSVP to Dan Goodman at danielgoodman@charter.net. For the Zoom lecture, RSVP to the office at bnaisraelsouthbury.org. Hold the date, Saturday night, April 29th, for a special event honoring several important milestones. 25 years of B'nai Israel, 25 years with Rabbi Eric, and 150 years as a synagogue. For those on Zoom, Rabbi will log on to say hello about 15 minutes after Kiddush. Tonight's Oneg is sponsored by the B'nai Israel Religious School grades 6 and 7. Great to see everyone here and online. Have a wonderful Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Shabbat Shalom.
Linda, getting us ready, and what?
We shall overcome. I'll just yell out the verses, because a lot of repetition and certainly your favorite as much harmony as you like.
We shall please join me in the prayer over wine or juice and then the motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei bri ha'olam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min ha'aretz. May God's presence be with you and give you peace. Shabbat shalom. Okay.